Click the links to send me art, comics, your campaign info, hate mail, nudes, or to buy me a coffee, or enter the art contest, or possibly make a t-shirt. Two things. I want to look at some crappy comics, but I also want to mention something I keep touching on, but apparently am not getting through. Why your campaign didn't get funded, and how to fix it for next time. Here are some pointers I've gathered from my time spent in comicsgate. If you do these things, it's not a guarantee you'll get funded, but it will radically increase your odds of success. Have a YouTube channel. At the very minimum, find an article on the Mary Sue, read it, and call it effing silly. It can take less than 30 minutes for that. Then you need to find small channels that do live streams. Ask for links and jump in. You just want to pop your cherry and get used to public speaking. I Love Comics is a good place to start. Ask for a link when he covers something that you enjoy and jump in there. Then every time you watch a video, make sure you leave a comment. When big channels have live streams, drop a $2 super chat plugging your book and channel. That increases the odds of them inviting you on to talk about your project. It's $2 well spent. $200 spread around is a good investment, especially as you get closer to your campaign. Maybe you can show your concept art and storyboards on your channel or send your art to other channels. Ask them if they'll talk about it. There are tons of small channels that will essentially make a free commercial for you, and they'll give you free feedback where they'll catch the big mistakes, like historical inaccuracies or logical problems. The more people you get involved with your project, the more free advertising you'll get. People will feel invested in your success, and you'll probably at least get those people to back your project. Every sale counts. It doesn't matter how you fund your first campaign, just get it into people's hands. Then they'll see it, review it, talk about it, and more people will buy your second book. Getting that first book out on time is important. It shows professionalism and it builds trust. But keep in mind that your book doesn't have to be perfect. Some writers and artists are paralyzed by the fear of imperfections, so that nothing ever gets published. Think of the standards in most industries, from law, medicine, to airline pilots. It's the minimally competent standard. Your first comic will never be as good as your 10th. That's like a law of thermodynamics built into the universe. There isn't a shortcut to experience. So have some friendly volunteers honestly look your stuff over. If they think it's ready, then it's ready. For examples, look at Stealing Solo and campaigns on IndieCron. Decide what meets your standards and what doesn't. You are not going to be as good as Mike Miller or EVS, but you have to be better than Stealing Solo. I hate to throw shade, but that's just like an example in Comicsgate of the one campaign that had some issues. But he's fixing it, and the comic's going to come out, and it's going to be much improved, so that's cool. And, that's another good thing, is fixing your mistakes, owning up to them. And anyway, keep in mind that most of the first year's work is going to be in building an audience, making simple videos, hosting live streams, going on live streams, learning how to deal with difficult people, how not to put your foot in your mouth, how to screw up, and how to brush yourself off and get back on the hippo. If you're going to be self-promoting on YouTube, you're going to be spending some time on YouTube. Oh, this is Batgirl. It's about women power, stunning and brave. An old black guy, 3 old Chinese women, a gay space alien, and I think the old black guy and the space alien are gay for each other. Oh, you've got a chick, beautiful girl in a bathtub, but instead of playing up a little bit of sex appeal, you don't do anything with it. You just totally show nothing. No sex appeal whatsoever. Great. Basically, YouTube's going to be a part-time job for you, but if you can talk to people in the same boat, you can rotate hosting with a gang of people. So, for example, you make a video almost every day, but then you go on a live stream every other night. You could have a loose little group of an inner circle of a dozen or so people who are all into, spooky aliens or zombie stories or clown porn. It doesn't really matter. It's just a way to get your voice out there so people get used to you. Maybe you're worried because you're crazy as a loon. That is actually okay as long as you are reliable. You can't be a flake and expect to get people's $35. If your show is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m., then consider that your job. It may be a year-long unpaid position, but it is important that you show up on time, be reliable, be professional, even if you're talking about tinfoil hat stuff or adult topics. And if you start to build an audience, for Pete's sakes, don't be a prima donna. Don't get a swelled head over YouTube dopamine hits. Stay humble and respect your audience. Don't turn into a, well, I won't name names. Here, the protagonist is being picked up on by this dude, and she's just ignoring it because that's what happens. She just, young woman of, marriage, birthing age, just ignores suitors who want to hook up, have babies, start a family. That happens. No agenda there. Let me use an example of two artists in comicsgate. EVS and Mike. Don't behave like them. Take a look at Meyer or Douglas Ernst. They stay out of the petty, childish bickering, and they do their own thing. If you can use Twitter responsibly, go for it. But if you have anger management problems, or you are I guess it's time to upgrade my setup. If you're as immature as a 9-year-old girl like EVS and Mike, then stay off Twitter. Take Tim Lim, for example. He and EVS had a disagreement. Tim has moved on and doesn't mention EVS and War Campaign. But they continue to attack Tim even a year later. Tim just ignores, and there goes 3 subs. Tim just ignores them and continues to build his live streaming skills, which is a good time to remind you that making videos and getting your live stream skills up to snuff takes time. So the best time to start is now. Your first live stream on the history of barbed wire and the use of elastic in socks and underwear may not be the huge hit that you had anticipated. It takes time to find your groove and simultaneously develop a very thick skin. Get used to guys named Muhammad giving you death threats or being told to off yourself, you bundle of sticks. Literally anything you say will offend someone. And if you think, I think people go into YouTube and they think either that their first video is going to be a hit and they're going to get all these views and clicks and subs, and that's going to be it. It's just going to be a string of hit videos. Even the very best people on YouTube don't have successes like that. That's very, very rare where someone is just a naturally talented, like EVS, Zach, Cecil. Those guys have a whole lot of talent. There's a lot of other people who build successful channels that are going to have to do it slowly, learning skills and just working their way up to it, like anything else. And it's not so much one big hit video. It's a string of small videos that don't suck, that get people drawn in. A string of, it's not like a knockout punch. It's just a string of small jabs that keep landing successfully over and over again. Or even some misses, but you're just going to have to keep getting back on the horse over and over again. And it's fun, too, so keep that in mind. If you aren't getting rape and death threats, then you better make sure that you have your computer plugged in, because that's just social media. Don't get paralyzed by fear. Just keep making videos and finding artists, letterers, colorists, writers. Well, I guess the letters and the colorists are... I was going to make a joke, but I mean, it's 8 minutes in the video, so I don't know. I can probably safely make a joke about letters and colorists without anyone hearing it and getting ticked off. Anyway, you got to find people and figure out who you want to work with and what people are better suited to what project. An adult humor zombie book has a different vibe from a World War II comic about killing the evil Japanese. But all the art and logistics of printing and shipping are the minority of the process. The majority will be in building a social media footprint. I've talked to a lot of guys who they want to get an Indiegogo going in a year, but apparently they are new to comicsgate and are unfamiliar with the diversity in comics method. Step 1. Build an audience, i.e. subs in an email list. I told you some of the details. Talk about something that interests you and has an appeal to others. Stay away from politics, religions, or controversial topics. Don't do the stuff that I do. Be like EVS. Be as milquetoast as possible while pretending to be outraged. And I'm not throwing shade. He made millions of dollars by pretending to care about Star Wars. That is genius. Go watch Doctor Who. It will provide you a never-ending source of cringe. No hyperbole. It's legitimately awful. You don't have to pretend to hate it. I promise you, you will hate almost every minute of it. Another little point. If you're getting into a Twitter beef or YouTube spat with someone and you want to just cool off for a month, block them on Twitter and don't watch their videos. I promise you that you aren't missing anything. I mean, if it bothers you, if you want to use it, if it bothers you, block them or mute them. If you want to use it to generate clicks and eyeballs, then cool, as long as you can handle it, use it to your advantage. But if it's stressing you out to the point where you're raging on YouTube for 2-hour videos, just stop following the source of your upset. Don't give a fire oxygen is a good thing to remember. You don't need to insert your nose into every situation or need to control things or make sure that your side of the story gets told exactly. This isn't a court of law. People will move on and forget most of this nonsense a year from now. Don't trip, it's only YouTube. So far, the worst thing is that it happened is an insane fan of Ethan's stalked Preston Poulter, but he is hopefully a rare exception. I'm sure EVS is doing everything in his power to stop his fans from harassing people and not encouraging stalking and assault. Anyway, not everyone is going to be as charming as DNC, but that's why you may want to team up with other small channels. You can build up your microphone skills and learn to work with all kinds of eclectic, eccentric people, some of whom will be very difficult. When people tell me they're going to do a book next year and I look at their channel and it's empty, who do you expect to sell to? A minimally successful campaign might take 1,000 to 2,000 customers. So you either need a hardcore dedicated audience or you need access to someone else's audience. If you only have a few thousand subs, then team up with a dozen other small channels so you can have a potential audience of tens of thousands, and hopefully you'll get a boost from the other channels. But you have to put in the legwork. You have to give people on YouTube something. Be entertaining, informative, or sexy with big jugs. Use whatever skills you have to sell. And you may discover that while you aren't very good solo, that you're better when teamed up with others. For example, Cecil, who I think is a comedic genius, isn't as good solo. He's more of a catalyst where he can play off of other people, especially straight men. That's why he's so funny when on a show with Doug Tennapel, because Doug is painfully unfunny. I'm pretty sure that he had his sense of humor removed at birth, probably through his anus. I don't hate Doug, but he's so smug. But his Worm book is a success, so he's doing something right. Seriously, congratulations to him. When you crowdfund on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, you are bringing your audience with you. So the platform doesn't really matter so much. Batgirl, what can I say? It's really stupid. Don't read it. Or, I don't know, give it to your daughter as punishment. Hey, here, Sue, this is meant to empower you. Dad, this fudging sucks. I know, but it's girl power, and you're a girl, so this is... Dad, I'm 12. This is for, like, little kids. I'm an adult now. I can read Batman. Hey, look, 2 gay blades. This is like a woman wrote this. I keep putting my foot in my mouth, but it's 13 minutes. Nobody gets to the end. Women are so silly when they write this kind of stuff. I think it's not a woman who wrote this. I'm sorry. I think it's a guy, Castellelli, I don't know, some Italian guy. What is this, the 1950s? 2 gay blades duking it out. Just whip your dicks out, guys. All right, like, comment, subscribe. BiancaZombie602 at gmail.com. Coffee, Patreon, PayPal. Buy a t-shirt at Teespring, or design a t-shirt, or enter the art contest. I've got a lot of amazing art. The skulls, the Liberty devices, the pan stuff. Very, very good stuff. And the Bianca Fights the Zombies art that someone drew and lettered. It's amazing. All right, guys, and I'm going to show you all that art once I move over to the computer. So I will see you guys all next episode.